What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special edition of the Scene Snobs Reviews. We are here again now. If you've watched some of our reviews before, you know how it works. But what we do is we have conversations about the movies we're going to talk about. And we talk about people who have intimate connections to each movie. And today, we have a very special guest. Our buddy Paul Dunn is here, who has an intimate connection to the movie, as in he had sex with it.
A lot. Quite a bit.
No, I'm just kidding. That's not true. But he was there for the world premiere, and we want to talk to him about it. Paul, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you guys for having me on again. It's awesome to be here.
Absolutely. We love having you on, man. We have a good time. And tell everybody about your podcast and in your business and such.
So our podcast is Four Sheets to the Wind. It's just three of my close friends and I, and we just get intoxicated by different substances and have some topics we try to go over, and then a lot of trailing off, which is very amusing. And sometimes I think it's a little informative, but we try. So it's a lot of fun.
That's how you do it, man. And it is a fun show, and everybody should check it out for sure. He also has a car detailing company down in North Carolina. Check it out. It's on the scenesnobs.com. The links. It's called Consider It Done. I love it because his last name is Dunn. So make sure to go check that out. But we are here to review the movie Bloody Summer Camp.
Yes.
It was one of our favorites for sure. And the reason we're doing this today, so you guys know, another very cool poster from it that I really liked, I want to put up. But the reason we're doing it, we're kicking off the Scene Snobs Halloween Horror Fest. It's 31 days, where we're devoted to horror and all things horror. We have content come out every day. We're going to be enjoying ourselves talking about this. So this is our review of Bloody Summer Camp. Casey and I are very fortunate to work at Carolina Fear Fest, where this world premiered, and we talked to the directors, to casts, some of the crew. Paul was there for the world premiere with special twists and turns, but I want to get into the conversation first. And where I'm going to start is I'm going to ask each of you, Casey, I'm going to start with you. What are your initial thoughts of this movie when asked about it? What is Bloody Summer Camp to you guys?
Well, when I hear about Bloody Summer Camp, especially when I'm pitching Bloody Summer Camp, because that's what it became for me. Almost immediately after watching this, it became, no, you don't understand. This movie is a blast. It's a joyride. It's a nostalgic thing that it pulls on my strings. It makes me remember a better time. It takes me back to that era of being young and being scared by the things that, obviously, when you get older, there's some ridiculous parts of horror movies. That's part of the joy, is the ridiculous's of it. Critters aren't really that scary by the time you reach a certain age, but it's terrifying
I beg to differ.
when you're 9. Oh no! Well, Troll was the worst. Troll was the worst. Like, that was horrifying for me. I was done. But Bloody Summer Camp, for me, as a slasher fan, I always love my slasher movies. But the slasher movies for me, Halloween, all of those, they weren't as terrifying as they were fun. It was the horror movie I could watch or put on with other people that we could all hang out, and it worked. Scream did that, Yeah. So when I think of Bloody Summer Camp, when I'm pitching Bloody Summer Camp to people, I always try to bring that aspect up, that it takes you back to that good romp, that simple, easy movie that's a lot of fun. It's easy to digest, and it's going to be a blast the whole way through. You're definitely going to laugh, and you're definitely going to have a few shock moments. I have to say, they did a good job with that. They did a good job with catching me off guard a few times. So that feels hard this much older in life. So yeah, that's what I think of when I think of Bloody Summer Camp.
Sure, man. Paul, how about you, man? What did you think of Bloody Summer Camp?
So I think we got spoiled. So Matt, my fiance, and I got spoiled by going to the premiere, but we got to see the premiere with the cast their first time all watching it together. So it definitely made elements of just viewing it a lot better, hearing all the twists and things like that. It added to it when you have an audience that's just completely absorbed by what's going on screen, and makes it that much enjoyable. But we went in there kind of blind when we saw it. We saw the tickets for, kind of an amateur film. But the second it started, we thought we were in a featured film. There was no way of not knowing that it wasn't just what it was. And it was great. Like you said, it just brings you back. It just seemed like a great slasher film and kept everything you love, which is the comedy aspect. It had the kind of over the top kills. Some very lovely women were in there too, which definitely gave you that fun 80s feel of, kind of like Demon Knight, just being like voluptuous sis and stuff like that. Like they had those fun kind of those manly things you can't get away with saying nowadays, which kind of is a little fun just because they're joking.
I think that adds an element, like when you do
Right.
movies that take place back in the day, and you do play up like how the macho man acted
Right.
back then. Today, and people are looking at it like that's not people's idea of men today, masculinity in general. So it is funny to go back and be like, yeah, but that was kind of how it was,
Right.
and he had to play that up. Paul, now you were at the world premiere with the cast. Dave Kerr, the director, who we've had on the show a few times for interviews and talk about this movie and his next movie, Go Away. Great guy. Everybody go check him out. Check out his other stuff. His movie, Return of Slasher Nurse, is now on Troma. You can stream it on Troma, so you can check that out. But
awesome.
for you, it was a surprise. Like, I don't want you to give away the ending because I want people to see it, but it was a surprise ending for everyone, even the cast. Can you tell us about that twist?
Without giving anything away, because we had heard about that because they announced it kind of before the film that there would be a twist that no one would be aware of. I think I just got so lost in enjoying the movie that I forgot to even try to overthink, oh, it's this person or this person the whole time. So when I found out, I definitely was like, oh, wow. Like this, I mean, there were some little very subtle hints that were there after you saw it, but I was amazed. I thought it was great. It kind of reminded me of kind of how The Sixth Sense made me feel the first time I saw it, where I was just like, oh, this is what's happening. Like, this is awesome. Now I want to rewatch it, and then I can see all the little clues that were involved before that he's talked about in his podcasts and interviews. So I'm excited to watch it again because we made sure to buy the Blu-ray version of it. So the twist, 9 out of 10. I don't think, or at least a 10 out of 10 probably, because I don't know how he could have done it better. And just hearing the cast, like just keep it away from the cast and just hearing all of their oohing and freaking out and cursing at the screen. And, it was awesome.
Yeah. And Casey and I, when we interviewed him at Carolina, and we didn't get to see the movie because we were working the festival. Case, for you, when he told both of us about the what he was going to do to the cast. Mm-hmm. Now, he didn't give any details away, of course. We didn't know what happened or anything like that. But
right.
How did you feel about it? Because I know I got chills. I'm like, I can't believe you kept this.
I mean, I was mind-boggled that he was able to do that. That was phenomenal. And especially sitting there speaking with the cast, it was nuts knowing that after talking to Dave, we're hanging out, talking to these other cast members too, interviewing people and being like, oh my gosh. So as I went back through our interviews after watching the movie, and I'm like, get out. You get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was still in character there. And they were just playing it off. Like, it was really well done. It was fantastic. And I love hearing that Dave, the amount of effort that dude went through just to keep that a secret was ridiculous. And like constantly having that fear of, I'm not just making a movie, but I have to keep the secret from everyone. Like, that just seems like overly stressful, but it paid off. I mean, I enjoyed it. So.
Oh, absolutely. And, my feelings on the movie, like I thought I really enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. It feels like it wasn't an A-list horror movie from the 80s. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I put it on par with something, but it feels like the 80s. Like when I watch a movie like House of the Devil or other horror movies that took place in the 80s, I'm like, you guys didn't capture the feel quite like I wish you did.
Not like Night of the Comet.
Well, that was the 80s. That was
saying you don't need to capture it. That's the feel I want. And if anybody lives up to that capturing, if you can get near Return of the Living Dead for me, man, we're sold. Yeah. We're good. Right. And I think this one, for the sake of the nostalgia it drew out of me, especially by some of the job acting. I mean, that was a great job. There were some actors in there who absolutely smashed it and kind of brought me right into that 80s feel, that world. So it was very well done.
Yeah, and I remember I think it was like almost a year ago. Bloody Disgusting had put out it, in anticipation for the movie because Felissa Rose is one of the stars of the movie, and it was a return to 80s slasher for her. So they did a kind of a big article about it. And I was like, wow, what is this? And I remember reading it, and I was like, I can't wait. And I was like, and they're shooting in our area, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then then finding out a friend of mine was a producer on it, I was like, okay, I can't wait. Matt Burns, who we've had on the show plenty of times, but meeting Dave, meeting the cast, everything else, was definitely a wonderful addition to how much fun this movie is. Now you can blow smoke up your ass and say there's nothing wrong with it. Of course, there's little things here and there, but one thing I like that Paul said that I agree with was there was such a good flow throughout the movie. Like I didn't find myself like needing to know who the killer was. I was like, I knew I would get there.
Well, that's pacing, and I think that's what was done exceptionally well with this movie was pacing. For me, if you keep the pace going and the actors are interesting and convincing, and I am in the story, then I'm going to wipe most of the problems away with what I see. You know what I'm saying? There aren't going to be problems because I'm getting what I want. I'm getting an entertaining story. That's why I watch movies. That's what I'm looking for.
I would disagree with the pacing from my point of view, and I was like, it did feel long at times.
That's fair. I didn't ever come across that way for me.
The characters, which I get too, because when I say it came for me, when it came along, I got past it real quick because there would be interesting things going on. It was just some of the things, like I was just like, okay, that just felt like it took me out of it for a second, but but it's one of those movies that's happened in plenty of other movies too. Horror movies especially. So it isn't Bloody Summer Camp did this. It was most horror movies do this, so.
Right.
Well, I mean, one thing I would point at is for me, there was a little issue with volume modulation at one point. It sounded like there was something up with some of the audio for a little bit. And I was like, okay, but you get over it. You know what I'm saying? That was literally just a scene. That was like a bad scene where it's like, oh, gotcha.
Yeah. No,
I
agree with you.
That's what happens. I mean, that's the independent filmmakers, man. We get little steps, little baby steps all the way through. And to put together this product, are you kidding me? And that's what we come away with as an issue. Well, I mean, I know big budget productions that I couldn't see.
Right.
So what the fuck?
He did a really good job with the atmosphere.
Yes.
It felt like a summer camp. It felt like the 80s. It felt like when you were there, I was like, the atmosphere is, and that's, I think, where I connected. And like any type of pacing issues I felt, I was like, I'm still like, I'm in it. I'm involved in this. I like where you're at. I like the characters, I like where it's going. One I want to talk about is Kay Leah, who played Tiffany in the movie. We sat down with her at Carolina Fear Fest and talked to her as well. And Case, I think you and I, we've talked about this. We kind of got the feeling she was a side character. She was just.
I thought she was going to. Okay, look, in every single movie, there is the bimbo chick. All right. In these classic 80s movies, when we're discussing these, there is a bimbo type character. After discussing with Kay, I was convinced that her character in the movie was that.
I want to add to that point. It wasn't, I mean, she's beautiful. She's a beautiful woman. I mean, we're not putting that on her. We're not saying because she's beautiful.
No, I'm saying the conversation we had led me to believe that the character she was playing was more like that character. And then when I saw her on screen, I was like, what are you talking about? She's one of the leads. She's awesome. Like, but having that conversation with her at the table was not that at all.
Yeah. Like, and that to my point, like that was her sitting there and talking, like I said, like the beauty and all that stuff doesn't matter. We're not calling her a bimbo because she's beautiful. We're saying
no. She
sat down and the way she talked, like go back and listen to our interview, everybody. The way she talks was like, I had a small part in it. And I really appreciate it. It was a good start for me. And it was like, and then we watched the movie. And I'm like, you're the final girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, you're the one. I'm like, you should be living this up. I was like, in interviews, you need to be saying like, oh man, yeah, I'm Tiffany. I'm the one. I'm the one here.
We need to give Kay some tips on interviewing.
Well, she deserves the accolades.
That's what I'm saying. She did such a great job. She was awesome.
I think she's so sweet and she's so kind.
Yeah.
She didn't want to like boast or feel like she was boasting.
Right.
And,
I'm all cynical and jaded now and old, so I don't understand kindness and bubbling.
the young vibrance of and the kindness that comes with it. I get it. Like Paul has.
Yeah. Fresh, nice guy, freshly engaged. Get out of here.
Paul, who just turned 30 and is complaining about back problems on Facebook.
These back problems. But I will say,
40 and dying.
That Purge episode, though, I didn't know either of you cursed that much, especially you, Casey. I definitely was sitting there in my car and I'm like, okay, all right, Casey, we just opened that door.
Casey does curse that much, but not all the time.
No,
he's very
it's fair.
He's good. Like me, I'm from Jersey, so like it comes out.
All right. Usually, and I work third shift with the working class individuals, so 100% at work, it's everything all the time. The second I'm out of work, usually around regular people, we're good. I try.
I know how to subdue the cursing.
Mouth. It's the military mouth. It's still there.
Right.
Like, I learned how to get my point across.
That is how he got it. That is where he got it from. But Casey only starts doing that because he knows I'm going to get set off. And once he wants to get, he is what we call an instigator. And
yes, he is.
He wants to push that envelope. But, and one thing I do, and kind of bring us back around to the movie, nothing in the movie to me, like when you watch a lot of like movies that are send-ups to 80s horror especially, there's like overly done nudity. There's like it's almost like you watched an 80s horror movie? Like, yes, there was nudity, but there was kind of a point, even though there wasn't a point at the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
There was a point for it to be there. And the thing I liked about Bloody Summer Camp is they didn't do that. It's like they didn't put the emphasis on like, yeah, it's all TNA all the time in 80s horror. There was. Go ahead, Case.
Okay. The way that they did it though was brilliant. That scene of like that, because that's what you want to have it as. It's either going to be two teens running away to hook up, or you're going to have that kind of instance where someone maybe perchance stumbles upon something. So trying to not spoiler anything. So, but it was great because you're right. There's too many movies where it's like, okay, come on, put your clothes on already. We don't need to be in here watching that. This is not the point of it. The point is not to just see 400 girls with boobs. The point is to actually get a story. And that's what Dave did very well. That's what I think Bloody Summer Camp does very well, is it's just boobs by chance. Kind of like Halloween, you have to know who the slutty chick is. Like that's and the slutty guy, because those are the ones that are going to get killed. That's what happens,
every time.
so I mean, there's a formula to it, and I think it was done
very simple formula.
It's a very simple formula.
Everyone's a suspect.
And his name was Paul too.
You cannot say formula without me thinking of two things: that line and the weird Samuel L. Jackson Formula 51 movie from like 2001.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. Because he wears a kilt and he hits people with golf clubs. I don't know. I love it.
Okay.
It's bad and I love it.
You love that movie? We have a whole different discussion we have to have when we finish this.
And the Scene Snobs are rolling back time.
I will say that while we're going back to talking about the pacing and everything, Sam is getting used to watching movies and really looking more than just, oh, this movie was good or made me feel good or made me feel this. So for her, one of her big tests for most movies I have her watch is she says a cell phone check. So she goes, I can tell how interested I'm into a movie by how many times I check my phone. And she was like, for most of us, I mean, I'm guilty too. Like, yeah, I might check once or twice. Oh, we're an hour in. They have half an hour to wrap up. That whole movie, even though it was very long, when we got done with that premiere, all of us were like, we just watched 2 hours of this and none of us even glanced at our phones. So I think it was cool. And then as for someone that, just isn't really deep into movies and really analytically trying to break down what's going on, she absolutely enjoyed it. So I think if you're just new to getting into movies or watching movies, I think just as an average viewer, you're absolutely going to enjoy the whole thing.
Yeah. I like that sentiment because even like I said with the pacing issues, for me watching it, I was like, a 2-hour horror movie is tough if it's not The Shining.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and even then, there's some pacing issues in The Shining. Like it's slow at times where it's just like, right. As I get older, I'm like, I was like, that movie gets scarier to me as I get older, but also it's like it gets really long as I get older. But and I'm saying that about Stanley Kubrick. So Dave Kerr, you're in good company.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like if you have some pacing issues with your third movie, in my humble opinion, and I loved it, then I'll tell you, the first time I watched it with eyes that was like, I'm gonna pick this apart because I feel like that's important. God damn it, Paul. No, I'm just kidding. And I'm leaving that in, by the way. If I watch it the first time and I'm like, all right, I'm going to pick it apart. And then I watch it the second time to kind of like pad that. Be like, okay, now it's as a movie. What, because I don't like to like just say, oh, movies are bad, this, that, the other thing. Like I like to find things that I like about it. And now when I watch it to pick it apart, I still really liked it going through it. But the second time I liked it even more because I was like, all right, now I'm not picking it apart and just enjoying it, you know? And the twist was fun. And the, like I said, use of atmosphere, the characters, they were all wild and fun. Like, our buddy Matt rolling up as the drug dealer.
Skunk
the drug dealer.
Oh, yeah.
And he just sold weed. Casey, you there? I think Casey froze. Oh my God.
He's just a good listener.
It's the most beautiful face ever. I had to save that one. All right. I will say this. But so like when he rolled up, I'm like, it's an 80s movie. Of course you have a weed dealer show up.
Right.
It's these kids at summer camp. And you never really had that. He'll be back. He'll be back, everybody. You never really had that in a movie before, especially in an 80s movie, because they didn't want to show it. So I like that they added that element of like, he's like, dude, I'll get you your weed. Just like, get me the money.
Right.
This sort of situation. Like it added an even more 80s vibe to it.
Right.
And
I really felt that.
Oh, no, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, it really brought me back to, because I've been a camp counselor for a couple of years in high school. And so like how they put each individual honestly brought me back to, and I was like, yeah, there was the girls that weren't about hooking up with the dudes, and there was always one that was absolutely about it. And I was like, and there was clearly the chef that's coked out of his mind, like mad at everyone for no reason. I was like, that's it. So those scenes and Bill definitely brought me right there.
Casey, the face that you were frozen on was probably my favorite thing on the planet. That I screenshot that because it was wonderful because it was just you like. It
was a nice scowl. Like you were disappointed.
You can't even reenact the scowl, and that's how perfect it was. We're kind of winding down here, but I wanted to, Paul, we were bringing up some good points because you said you were a camp counselor and like you knew those different types of people that were counselors with you. So that adds an element to it. I didn't know you were a counselor. I definitely would have asked more about that and like the connection to it. But overall, what's your rating? Give it a 1 out of 10. What's your rating of Bloody Summer Camp? And should people make sure to see this movie?
An 8. I had to give it an absolute 8. And I think people should absolutely go see it, hands down.
Sweet. Casey, are you there? He's joking. You got to be joking. Are you frozen?
I'm there again. All right.
Well, there
Oh my God. I'm like, is he really that good and just frozen? Like he froze himself and he was like, I'm just going to pretend. Oh my God. Case, last thoughts on the movie.
Okay. Last thoughts
and give your rating.
Okay. So I am a big fan of this movie. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely rewatchability is huge for me. So this is highly rewatchable. Great performances. Big shout out to Chandra Rawlings. Let's see, Matt Sharp, big fan. Matt McGlynn, great job. Kay, wonderful job as the final girl. And Coked Out Chef Guy is my huge major shout out, favorite character, favorite absurd character. So Great job on all those. Felissa Rose and Dave Sheridan are wonderful as well. So yeah, I like it a lot, and I'd have to say overall, I'd probably give it for me, because it's so rewatchable, I give it 3 hatchets out of 5, because I really enjoy it, and it takes a lot to get much from me.
All right, I like that, the hatchet thing, and since we're doing Horror Fest all month, we should stick with it. But I kind of want to change it to chainsaws because you got the shirt.
Oh yeah, well, you got to hail to the king, baby.
All right, so you saw it here first, everybody, for Horror Fest. So when you review a movie, it's going to be out of 5 chainsaws. I really hope you're frozen, Case. I got a print screen. Print screen. Yes. I love it. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Hold on. I will cut this part out. I need to save this picture of Casey frozen. Sorry. All right. There it was, ladies and gentlemen. So my final thoughts on the movie were, I really enjoyed it. It was a highly anticipated movie for me, especially being a horror movie for 2021. I think everybody should go check it out soon. Oh my God, Casey, you are amazing. I think everybody should go check it out as soon as they can. Get the Blu-ray. They are available. You can go to Bloody Summer Camp, follow them anywhere. It's worth it. If you're a horror fan, it's worth that. Did it surpass my expectations when I first read about the movie? No, I think it was right on par with where I thought it was going to be, but I had high expectations, so I think that says something. Now, since we're going with the chainsaw rating of 5, I gave Paul 1 out of 10, and he gave it an 8, so that's perfect. Working that out, I would give this a 4 out of 5 chainsaws. Nice. Mostly because Dave Kerr is a very talented director, and he made a beautiful looking movie about the 80s. And that's hard to do these days because people just don't understand the 80s.
Yeah.
But until next time, we are the Scene Snobs. Remember, everybody, it is October. We are doing the Scene Snobs Halloween Horror Fest all month long with content every day, whether it be written, videos, shows, the whole 9 yards. We're going to have guests. Our 2-year anniversary special is Tuesday night starting at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We're going to have a ton of guests come on here and there. So please go check that out, or you can listen to it any other time. Go to thescenesnobs.com. You can follow any of our social media there, with links there, or you can listen to any of our shows or watch any of our shows with links there. I want to thank our special guest, Paul Dunn, for joining us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Good to see you, Paul.
Thanks for having me.
Remember to check out 4 Sheets of the Wind. And if you do need car detailing and you're in the North Carolina area, check him out. Remember, it's on thescenesnobs.com. We have a link for Consider It Done. I want to thank my co-host and cohort and colleague and voice actor extraordinaire, Mr. Casey Plott, for joining me today. I know he's had kind of a crazy night, but it is always appreciated, and I appreciate your face.
Love your face.
Well, thank you guys, everybody. Love you, Len, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob, and you can check out the Scene Snobs podcast live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, or you can check it out on any podcast platform or our YouTube channel anytime after that. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. If you guys want to join, check us out over on thescenesnobs.com. We have links for everything. The Scene Snobs merch store is open. You can check that out too. Links again on the site. Or follow, and subscribe on all of our social media. Again, head over to thescenesnobs.com. It's all there for you guys. Love you, and we'll talk to you guys soon.